All right. So this thing could be on, it might not be on. But I don't even know what to say, quite honestly. And you'd think that I'm trying to spend a lot of time looking cool. I'm not. There's some conversations about the long form and Joe's writing. And they sit amidst this beautiful sunrise, I think. Write? I don't know that I could write. I could riff. And I'll probably do nothing with this video. Or edit the crap out of it, who knows. But I got this nice hot cup of coffee. Sound of the waves behind me. And it's morning. And I guess I would write about how lucky I am. All the people that I got in my universe. I probably spewed about 10,000 times this weekend. Kind of thinking about it. It's a weird thing. Like you play the gig, you have the show, you have all the fun, and you get that depression on the other side of things. Post-con, post-gig, post-social. It's the space in between where you get the spoons back, maybe, I guess, for those folks who are introverted or are really digging deep to make it happen. They become that other person for a hot minute and then need the recovery time. I guess we all do, probably. But, yeah, for me, on the other side of it, it's, you get the demons, you're not worth it. You're what are you doing? You're a big poser, blah, 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 till the next gig. And then the cycle's the same, right? It's the gig comes up, like, oh shit, I'm not ready, I'm under-rehearsed, what am I doing this for? Some people look forward to it. And maybe you're the same person. I flip-flop between really pumped up for it and itching to play and thinking, man, this was a big mistake, I'm under-rehearsed. Don't embarrass yourself. But anyhow, here at the beach, getting ready for, I wouldn't even call like the Bluegrass Festival. If you're not playing the big stage, is it a gig? It's a workshop. We get to play. Playing in front of people is always fun. So, I mean, I guess it counts. Looking forward to Connecticut Ren Fair coming up. And then Marcus Hook. And having the folks with Captain's Beard stay with us for a week. Whatever shenanigans might happen during that time frame. You never impose on folks that say, like, oh yeah, you're absolutely going to jam with us because, this is my chance to not jam. So if I could just chill out and save my time for whenever. Nonetheless, long form writing, riffing. Man, think about a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I burned up, I think, most of my long form when we talked about. Where did we go? We went to Miller's restaurant here. And Zoe was the waitstaff person. If you know me long enough, there's weird movies out there that have spoke to me. And one of the weirder off movies, inevitably I'll talk about, is Wonder Boys. Michael Douglas. Who else is in there? Robert Downey Jr. Is it Tobey Maguire who might be in that as well? I think he's the wunderkind, our subject matter expert. It's a bit of a dark movie. I think it opens with suicide. But the important part is the game that they play. Michael Douglas, the writer, academic, and Robert Downey Jr., the editor and publisher, into a bar and immediately make up backstories of the people that they see there. So Zoe was the subject when I went in with my parents of inventing, if I were to write what Zoe's backstory was, I would tell the story. She was ridiculously thin enough to be blown over like a reed in a not so strong wind. Reminded me of the dozens of cattails that sit here around the beach. Zoe had a restaurant. Zoe was only working this place so she could learn the business. Eventually, she'd come up with her own place. It wasn't going to be a unicorns and dreams kind of place. It was going to be a business model. Everybody else couldn't figure out how to make it work, but they were doing it wrong. She had a better idea. She could, whatever the plan was. It was about the, I don't know. You get the idea. Uh, Vignettes, man. That's what I like to write. I think more than anything else. Like my Royal Farms, Baltimore piece. Some things write themselves, man. You meet these people and NPCs. For those of you who don't play tabletop or role-playing games, your non-player characters, your transients, they have a quest for you. They might not even have a quest for you. It's some rando person, uh, referees and DMs and stuff like that. Storytellers will know that it's inevitably you'll be forced to come up with an entire backstory for a person who's really meant just to give you the rope that you went to into the store for. And next thing you know, you got to know who the rope monger's wife is, and do they have two kids, or are they three, or no kids, or why do they have no kids? Because your player characters are going to inevitably ask all these questions, and you really just had like rope shop. Rope can be had for 5 gold pieces or a 50-foot strand. Blah. That's it. The rest is extemporaneous, man, because your players inevitably want to know all of the backstory. But that's my favorite part, I think, of storytelling. I think most of the folks that I hang with, it's inconvenient, but it's still fun. And you never know. And next thing you know, they're a character in your story. And I guess that's the way it is with real life, in fact, sometimes. When you meet these people, I took Quinn on an adventure, I want to say a bit, so 2 days ago. And it starts with me just looking at a paper and going, oh, lucky 12. Sounds interesting. Lucky 12, inevitably, the milepost 12, right? Here on the Outer Banks. That's how you measure things. It's what milepost you're at. So lucky 12 makes sense. Why is 12 lucky? Because it's not 13. Uh, Probably a backstory somewhere along the way. 12 was a good number for Todd, who inevitably we met at the bar when I took Quinn. It was for lunch. I just wanted a sandwich. Looked like they had a decent sandwich there. I didn't expect to see a bourbon collection that was kind of spectacular. And then you always talk to people. Rule number one, I think, when you go into a bar and you meet somebody, is you introduce yourself and get the bartender's name. They're making you drinks, right? So the barkeep, you want to know your barkeep's making drinks for you. And I'm naturally curious. I don't know how to not ask questions, have a conversation and figure out what they're doing. So you find out. I ask questions like, are you serving bourbon before bourbon was cool? Yeah, is the answer. Oh, what else would you answer? But I got the feeling like that was the truth. And there was a good selection. It wasn't all about Pappy Van Winkle and all that other crap like that. It's oddball stuff. We share the love of a simple bourbon that's at a decent, convenient price, like Larceny. You go, oh man, that's a good middle of the road, easy to accessible bourbon. That it's good for. It's like your utility infielder of bourbons. Um, and where you make an old fashioned. Talking about like the old fashioned is kind of like the soup to chefs, right? Like you want to understand how a person cooks and get a sense of their basics, their fundamentals. I've seen it in cooking shows that they make a soup. They'll start with a soup. An old fashioned's a bourbon drink. It's there's not much to it, but you do it wrong or you try to do too fancy and flair. I want to know what your game's like, so make me an old fashioned. No, he made me an old fashioned. Todd's old fashioned was a good old fashioned. Big block of ice. He added some. What was he muddling in that? I don't remember, honestly. Um, but it started with Todd, my daughter Quinn, with me, and she likes bourbon. Had a few drinks there, talked about that. Talking to Todd, we find out that Todd's friend with the dude who is working over at the distillery. Have I been there? Over in Mania. Wow, it's not too far. It's like 5 miles down the road. So we'll go see Matt. Matt works at the distillery. Matt makes mixologists. It's him. I don't know about mixologists, but I like people. I'm interested in the connection to Todd and Matt. A couple hours later, we're talking to Matt about the 12 bars of Christmas and the activities going on down here. We get to have Matt's old fashioned, made with rum. And it's a different old fashioned. It doesn't come on with the bourbon notes. It's a slower burn, but it's an easy drinking old fashioned. But again, back to the old fashioned. It's the basics. Again, it's people. It's interacting with people. And for me, people is a love-hate relationship. If you stay with me long enough, you'll probably hear me say it's like, I hate people. I sometimes think about it like Men in Black. Tommy Lee Jones' conversation about aliens. Trying to explain to Will Smith's character that a person would understand aliens and spaceships and the aliens being among us, but people would not understand. It's true. When I think about it, though, it's all these bits and pieces. Sometimes if you listen to the words people say, people write, I think that's why I'm addicted to, not necessarily, I'm one of those nerds who cares about writers in television. And just general, like words, people write truth. And if you listen, you can hear it. The choice of words, the connection of thoughts, the things that I don't know, man. You know it when you hear it. And it can sometimes be a gut punch and make you feel things. It can sometimes make you think. So a person, the singular, you can relate to them. People's a mob. People is it's got a different use. You can relate to people in the sense of I don't know if I can even relate to people. You need people for a gig. You do want to reach that one person when you play music, when you write. It is worth it if you get that one person who really made them think. You can see it on their face. You can see their facial expressions. If you're writing, you don't get to see it, but maybe they write you back. Maybe they tell you that, like, man, they really appreciated that one paragraph that you wrote amidst 387 pages or who knows what. But it matters because that one person, you connected with them. But people, being able to connect with people in a group, you need a collection of people to be successful, I guess. That's the disappointing part. And what is success, right? You can riff on like, are you not successful if you've reached that one person altruistically? Yeah, you're still successful with one person. But if you want to make a living at it, you need money. You need people. People buying drinks, people listening, people caring, people spending money on CDs, on your books, on the things that you do. You kind of need people. And in a perfect world, I guess you'd get a collection of persons, like-minded, individually you can connect with, that you go, wow, that those people, each one of those persons, I also connect with and I dig a whole lot. And I guess when I think about the pirate community, or the folks that sit around the fire when we're playing way too late into the night, making noises that are completely inappropriate and making a neighbor angry, those are the magic places. That is the part that fills my soul up when I think about my unconventional life and how I'm so incredibly lucky. It is those persons that I think that makes it worthwhile. And I'm lucky to have the people. I will not lie that having recognition of like the head bob, you get a collection of people in a crowd who are doing this to a particular song, that's validating. You're doing something right. That's what it's for. So I guess that's the long form of what's going on, and thinking here in this beautiful beach and riffing in my head. It's hard because you want to be in the moment. Be in the moment here. It's beautiful. Believe it or not, I have like my real day job work to do in like maybe an hour, a presentation, and then I'm going to tell them all to fuck off again, like I did yesterday and the day before, because I need some downtime. I do like what I do for a day job too, though. But that's not important. The long form of being grateful, the long form of words, and the fact that you guys listen, care, you read, all four of you. One of them's my mom, sure. The other I'm probably related to. But nonetheless, it's the words, man. I'll follow somebody at a con because I read the credits at the end of a show and say, oh, what was that piece of writing? Like when I was riffing about, what do you call it? The Quiet Place, Day One. And that poem that I thought has to be from somewhere. It's like, it's borrowed from some places. That goes back to, like, is there any original work done, right? I mean, everything's derivative at the end of the day. Humanity is a common theme. We live, we're born, we live, we die. We do a bunch of stuff in between. There's only so many different things that we can do. The world changes, the technology changes, the way that we interact with each other. This is video. It was maybe a letter prior to. Maybe we're pounding on stone tablets way back when, trying to avoid being eaten when we were food. But we still interact, that human component. So there's only so many stories you can tell. Because at the end of the day, it's about a person doing a thing with another person, somehow, somewhere, with just the rest of the world in the way to kind of pull out and unravel. Yes, I know fantasy and the cosmos and magic and how that all works is super duper important too. Ridiculously important in fantasy, sci-fi. There are rules. You have to have rules. Or no rules is the rule. But I don't know, man. I love words. And I do like a person and people. And I think that's where the magic is. So you people, you persons, man, I'll keep coming back for it. And I think that's probably all I got to say in the long form. Y'all take care of yourselves.